Hi hobby friends, let's talk about not airbrushing. So, I get it. You see a cool looking video thumbnail with some outrageous time claim, you want to see what it's all about, so you give it a click, and then, within 30 seconds, the doofus that made the video is pulling out over 200 Great British pounds worth of kit you don't have. And then, to add insult to injury, he says something like, "But if you don't have an airbrush, you can still do this," and never shows you how. Well, let's deal with that today. I've got 3 Eldar Windriders on my desk, 3 options for painting them, and a couple of hours to spare while I wait for stuff to dry and orders to arrive. First off, fancy pants dry brushing. This is a technique that's seeing quite a bit of action recently thanks to the Artist Opus luxury dry brushing set, but I want to show you that money doesn't need to be a barrier. I've set up a spare cork tile from my basing bits box, and I have a cheapo makeup brush in my hand. You want a makeup brush because of its soft, dense hairs, but you're more interested in the short bristle type rather than the really long bristled ones. Go for something like you see me using here. Old school dry brushing, that is, taking your crappiest brush, globbing on some paint, smooshing it over some card till it's all but dry, then swooshing it over your surfaces. It's a technique that has a bad rep amongst more serious painters, but you know what? If you're looking for a dusty, scratchy texture, it's actually really great. I'm more than happy to use it on things like rocks and some kinds of leather. However, what we're looking for today is not dust or scratch. Today we're after as smooth a blend as possible. In order to achieve that, you need to very slightly dampen your brush before you get paint on it, and keep it very slightly damp for the whole process. You could buy or make a fancy brush dampening sponge thing, but honestly, just adding a teeny bit of water to your brush, then wiping most of it out works just fine, at least until you know you like this technique and you want to invest some more money in gubbins. On the palette are a very dark grey, my favourite Sombre grey from Vallejo, and some black. Notice they're in streaks, not pools. This is so it's easy to pull a little off the end of the streak rather than oversaturating the brush by dipping it. I work the paint into the bristles and remove the excess by wiping it on my tile. Working up from the dark grey to the light grey, mixing the colours in between, I'm moving my brush over the surfaces I'm looking to highlight in little round swooshy movements. For this video, I wanted to emulate the highlighting seen in my easy panel lining video, so this is going to be a pretty subtle effect, but I think that's good. Subtle effects can often be harder to do than big bold looks. Okay, that's the dry brushing done. Let's take a look at some pictures. You know what? I really like the look of this, and it's not a particularly difficult technique to get the hang of. The blend is smooth, and with a little more patience than I had that day, I bet you could almost completely eliminate any dustiness by really taking care of your brush dampness. You can build all sorts of bolder effects with this, and it is a genuine replacement for a lot of the type of work you see from an airbrush. Humble dry brushing is a fantastic skill to have in your arsenal. Okay, technique number 2, it's oil paints. I've done oil washes on this channel and we've seen the magic of panel lining and even quick weathering effects, but here is the last of the real superpowers of oils. The creamiest blends that ever did cream, and so easy, you'll feel like you're cheating. I'm laying down a very thinned layer of pure black here first, then wiping basically all of it away with a makeup sponge. This gives us a nice oily base to work on which can help the blending, but it's not 100% necessary. I've used oils straight on acrylics to push highlights at the last minute many times, and it works no problem. I mixed up a gradient of greys here on my palette, adding just a tiny touch of Prussian blue to keep it cool, but in the end, because of the black wash on the model, I used almost pure white for these highlights. Add your paint wherever you want the height of your highlight to be, in this case along the edge, and then swap to a broader, completely clean and dry brush. Keeping that brush dry is really important here. If there's any mineral spirits on your blending brush at all, you're going to end up removing paint, not blending it. So keep your blending and painting brushes separate while you work, and only clean your blending brush by wiping it on a dry bit of towel. As you can see, we use a similar motion to the dry brushing to work that paint out into a gradient. After living so long in the world of acrylics, this is really going to feel like magic. Unlike acrylics, oils want to blend, and with just a little coaxing they'll fade out. In fact, that's the only thing you need to watch out for. It can be hard to judge how much paint you need, because with enough coaxing your highlight colour can all but disappear. But it's not all roses. Oils infamously take a while to dry, and if you're not careful you can easily stick your finger in wet oil paint and spoil all your hard work. And if you don't plan your painting session, you might find yourself prematurely cut off waiting for something to dry. In all honesty, I don't really see oils as the perfect airbrush replacement for this particular application, but I wanted to get them in here because they are a great option for a heck of a lot of stuff people might reach for the airbrush for, like complicated colour blends or super smooth skin. Okay, a less striking contrast on this one, but that's on me, not the oils. If you haven't tried them yet, I insist you pick up a cheap set and get experimenting. They're fantastic, and I plan on looking at them in some more videos in the future. Alright, inevitable airbrush inclusive ending now. I'm just going to run the footage of the airbrushing in real time underneath while I mention some of the pros and cons. So, first off, the price. Yes, a decent airbrush will cost north of £100, and then you need a compressor that is noisy and takes up space, a mask, cleaning stuff, a stand, a hose, thinners, and all the other paraphernalia. Okay, fine. But, oh, hang on, make sure your significant other who doesn't realise how much this hobby costs yet is out of earshot. That price? That's like 2 Games Workshop centerpiece models? Or 1 Forge World tank? It's way less than everyone's favourite current trend, a resin 3D printer. And more importantly, it's worth it. I really, really believe it is 100% worth it to almost every mini painter. Are you a speed painter who wants to get your army battle ready ASAP? A little practice with an airbrush and you'll be blasting out armies in no time at all. Airbrush makes everything go faster. Or maybe you're an aspiring competition painter who is only happy with top quality. Well, the airbrush is going to open up a huge realm of possibilities for you and get the boring bits of painting done fast so you can spend more time futzing with every tiny detail. And if you're a commission painter who doesn't already own an airbrush, just stop watching this video and go get one now. It will earn itself back in time saved very, very quickly. Plus, for the compressor-averse persons, there seems to be an option now. Check out Ninjon's video linked below. My point is, if you like the hobby, and especially if you like painting, you should be interested in filling your tool bag with every possible technique and trick you can, because a broad knowledge and skill set is what is going to grow you as a painter. Yes, it's money and equipment, but you're already spending money and filling your cupboards with unpainted plastic, so is that really a good reason? If you're still not convinced, I hope this video has inspired you to try finding other ways to achieve the effects you see, and never think something is out of reach just because you don't have a particular tool. Still hate airbrushes? Got another tip for emulating airbrush effects? Let me know your thoughts below, and happy painting!